What's good? Thanks for tuning in for another episode of the Jagged Edge. It's Ian here along with Chris.
Happy day!
Happy good. No, it's not Good Friday. It's Saturday.
You already ruined it.
Yeah, I tried.
Yeah, you did. Don't try again.
I won't. In the end, it didn't even matter.
I wasn't even referencing anything other than, hey, have a happy day. Why not?
It's good stuff.
Turn that frown upside down.
Put a smile on however you sing that thing from McDonald's.
That ugly mug of yours.
Hey, you're a mean one, Mr. Grinch.
Yeah.
It's out of season, but no. Hey, what's up, people? Hope you're having a good holiday.
Do you just want to start over?
No. We're rolling with this. That's it. This is Mario Kart. You just drove off road. You stay off road till you get back in that track.
Happy day.
All right. Happy day to you. I'm still fresh off of seeing Ready Player One.
You suck.
Yeah, had a bit of a mix, and unfortunately I got in on don't get to do this too often, but things lined up, managed to get in for a Thursday showing.
We were supposed to review that together. I ended up having complications, so I haven't seen it. I won't be able to see it until next week.
Right.
You suck. I want all my cultural references from the last 30 years mashed into one movie. Now.
I think the big question is, like I was telling you before we started, without spoilers, is will you appreciate said references being brought up without the original spirit they were brought up in and just mentioned, or not? That remains to be seen. You can make up your mind once you see that, or once anyone out there sees it for yourself. But if you want a review that's got a bit of spoiler stuff in it, check that out. That is posted up on our channel, as well as a couple of other recent reviews, too, that we got reposted back up.
Let me ask you this. Does it feel like a Spielberg movie?
Yes. Hands down, yes.
There you go. So people who want that, there it is. And
I was looking for that, really curious early on if that was the vibe it was going to take, because I guess in the first 15, 20 or so, I was juked a bit. He's sort of doing the extra narration, leading you in, but it quickly as you once you get the basic setting and the basic foundation of this, it's Spielberg all over it. So
awesome.
Yeah,
that right there is just nostalgia as well.
Yeah, it is. This is somebody who's been known for, really not just painting, but characterizing a world, and always delivering that to us in a really interesting way. So cool.
All right. Let's start on the suck here. We got a good list of it.
Yeah, go right down the drain, and ironically, it's something that has been in our list of suck for a long time.
Yep.
This is in regard to X-Men, the Dark Phoenix, and the New Mutants delayed again. This is a report from the tracking board earlier up in the week. Dark Phoenix got moved from November 2nd all the way over to February 14th, 2019.
Valentine's Day, let's talk about the Phoenix. If they were doing the full story arc, that's kind of harsh.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Golly. And New Mutants got a pushback from February 22nd, 2019, all the way over to August 2nd, 2019.
Yep. That was supposed to come out next month.
Yeah. Never mind. Late next year.
Well, it might be never mind too.
Yeah.
I heard conflicting reports as to why this is happening.
Gosh. Well, as far as reasons why, there's noted a couple that were thrown out there. One is that the acquisition took place. Disney grabbing up a lot of the Fox properties. That could include a couple of these titles, and Arrow might have some more future plans for X-Men. But Fox, they went on record. They were talking about how they wanted to move forward, just act as though the deal, won't go through, or didn't happen, like it will, and just press on.
Right.
Yeah. I doubt that.
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
I understand their train of thought, though, because these things have fallen through in the past, and this is a monumentally humongous deals. So
Yeah.
I suppose that's what you do. I mean, I've been in a situation where a place I worked at got bought out, and you're like, well, what do we do until then? Just do what you've been doing.
Yep.
Move forward. So that makes sense.
Stay the course. Huh. Others are saying that Dark Phoenix got moved to work better with some of the actor schedules and to do a little bit of reshooting. New Mutants could very well be undergoing some big time reshoots to make it more just stand out a little more as a movie, or hey, maybe even put a couple more characters in it.
Yeah, I worry about the New Mutants. There's rumors as well that Disney's talking about making New Mutants a one of their streaming shows, and to ditch this whole horror thing altogether. Going a little bit more in depth on that latter, it's my understanding that Fox is not the happiest with this movie. That it's fine the way it is, but they want it scarier. They want it to stand out more, like Logan and Deadpool.
Yeah.
But they're inserting one or two characters, not just like a couple scenes, but they're like, major reshoots and redoing this whole movie. They're talking about the director possibly leaving it at this point.
Crap.
We're not going to get that movie.
No. Any time you've done like some kind of major operation, wait a minute, hold up, open things back up. We need to put another heart in this guy.
You were supposed to watch this 2 weeks from now.
Yeah. God.
Now it's a year and a half, I think. Yeah, it's about a year and a half.
Wow. Well, man, this is getting some FF7 remake vibes on me.
Well, and at the same time, I guess it doesn't really matter because a lot of the outside of it being an intriguing angle that they're going with the movie, a lot of the interest was, okay, they're going to come out with the New Mutants. How is this going to merge with Deadpool and the X-Force?
Right.
Which, New Mutants become X-Force in the comics. Well, clearly, at least, that wasn't going to be the initial angle they were going at, because with the delays and everything, the way they had this set up was that Deadpool 2 would come out, then New Mutants, and then X-Force would come out.
Right.
So I suppose that could still happen, but August of 2019. We'll never see it. My prediction is we'll never see this movie. This movie will not see the light of day unless it's released through unofficial methods.
Fair, dude. Hey, fair prediction. One of the things about release cycles is this thing you got to juggle when you do it. It's audience retention. You automatically enter this juggling act as soon as you cast that dice out. And if you leave it out there and if it collects mold and dust and, really weird pathogens, well, people are going to walk away. So question is, I'm actually with you there. I do agree. I doubt we'll even see this. When we get up to that date and miraculously it actually does happen, people even want to pay attention to it.
I mean, we got a trailer for this. That's how much of a go it was.
Yeah.
That we got a trailer and everything. Whatever, Fox. Whatever. What do you think about the Dark Phoenix stuff, though? That's interesting. I'd heard that they had done a test shoot, and very early on test shoot. They're in no way seeing this as a finished product, and
right.
They did that to help with some decisions and some reshoots and such. It's getting moved back realistically 3 months.
Yeah, which honestly, the case here doesn't seem to be as much of a organ transplant as New Mutants.
Right.
I think that's somewhere still within the realm of possible. It can happen. Yeah. Whenever I hear Dark Phoenix, man, I'm always taken back to the 90s X-Men cartoon, and I will never forget when the Phoenix Saga first came on. Blew my socks off.
No, it's nuts.
Yeah. So I think ever since I've hoped to see some other cool appearance or like incarnation of Phoenix or somewhere where she had a really awesome representation. But last thing I enjoyed Phoenix related was in Marvel vs. Capcom 3, so that should say something.
Well, I just watched a video recently on the Phoenix Saga and what the actual comic version, when it came out, why they did it, everything leading up to it and happening after, and in the core reason for it, which was mainly to change Jean Grey. This wasn't so much to introduce some new mega evil power or to shake up the X-Men, as much as it was mainly about taking what was one of the blandest and most boring characters in the comic universe at the time and flipping her on her head and making her completely different, taking the good girl and wrecking her and
Yeah.
ruining. I seriously doubt the movie's going to be able to do that justice. I don't really know. We don't really know this Jean Grey.
No.
So
No.
we've barely met her. It's not out of the realm of impossibilities. It would definitely have to be the most epic of the X-Men movies they've done so far.
Yeah, they're raising the stakes on this one, and I think you raised a really important point that I didn't even think about up front. Part of what I think made Phoenix make such an impact was because we already had an attachment to Jean Grey.
Right.
She'd been through a lot of the adventures. We knew her well, and she was already very well set in her personality. Here, that it's just sort of what we're given. Hey, Jean is this. Now Jean is this. So
Right. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do. I like the fact that they're staying truer to the source, going in space and all that stuff, and it'll be interesting to see what all they do with it. I don't know. I don't know. They don't have the best track record, but they have a better track record as of late.
They do.
So
they do. There's some gems.
I
Some real
think we'll
gems.
actually see this one.
Yeah.
But I think this will be the last X-Men movie that we get that's not Disney related.
Right. Which heck, if that does end up being the case, I would check that out just because. It's like a dying artifact or something. So
We're not saying see you later. We're just making sure you leave. That's kind of how I feel about it.
You gone? Okay. Close the door. Other than that, Deadpool, the FX cartoon. It's out of here.
I'm sad about this.
Sucks.
We talked about this, didn't we? When they first announced it?
We
I
did.
can't remember. It was a while ago.
Pretty certain we did.
Oh my god! I forgot to link this for you. Did you know about this before the show notes? Did you know about this? Oh man, there's some test footage out there. I'll find that while you talk about the whole thing. I'll find that footage for you.
This announcement hit a little earlier on in the week. FX made an announcement that they're not going to be involved any longer with the Deadpool cartoon that was being developed. The showrunner for this, Donald Glover, and also the writer, that's Stephen Glover. They went on Twitter about the cancellation. They talked about their disappointment of it and shared a few parts of the script. They said in the script, Deadpool said the following: I'm not mad about this whole cancel thing. I mean, it's not even it is even a good time to have a violent, gun-loving man while ranting on TV. Other than the president?
You butchered that.
I did. What you gonna do about it?
Other than mention it, nothing.
Okay. Just checking. Oh, man.
I'm looking for this here. Now I can't. I'm having a hard time finding it.
Keep trying. Look in the cabinet on the left.
So you keep reading on that though.
Sure. Stephen Glover, he went into this a little further. He confirmed that it was a particular episode involving Taylor Swift, which was really the big breaker for FX and the show. It turns out all the rest of the tweets of Glover's, they got deleted. That's, man, too touchy, too what hitting way too close to home here. I mean, wow.
Probably.
Yeah. But look, this is part of the thing that makes Deadpool fun. He is the third wall breaker. Like I think more than any others. The last, I'm trying to think of other. The last Marvel character I remember doing that was She-Hulk, and I wanted to say that was in the John Bynes days in the 90s, where she had the huge, like, fluffed up, 80s style hairdo. She'd regularly do this too. She'd just break into like a producer studio and start complaining about the choices the writers made, like, why would you draw this way and stuff like that. And then she'd address the audience a few times. So sometimes.
Yeah, I believe her and Deadpool are the only two that break the fourth wall.
Yeah. Everybody else,
I'm sure they have, but I've never seen them break the fourth wall together. But I'm sure they have at some point.
Yeah, maybe. Oh man, I never got into the any of the She-Hulk arcs beyond that though, because weren't there a bunch of She-Hulk arcs beyond the basic one? I know there was the original, and then I don't think they went like sensational, amazing, and all that like Spider-Man did, but I could swear they were like 3 or 4. Well, so
Yeah, I don't know. I'm having a hard time with this. I actually found this footage the other night, and now it's down everywhere.
wow.
Sorry. Keep looking though. It
These
was
things,
awesome.
hey, happens. Could have just been yanked. I know some.
If you ever saw the Spider-Man cartoon that's come out in the last few years and had Deadpool in it, did you ever see any of those? It was based on the
No,
Ultimate Spider-Man. No.
no, holy crap.
Well, yeah, Deadpool would show up. Style's very similar to that, a bit more edgy, but it was definitely graphic. Like Deadpool loses an arm, and he's cutting people up. There's explosions and blood and guts, and it was pretty good. It was just like a 90-second intro. It was fun to watch though. It was definitely a what could have and should have been scenario. I guess I don't know what the hell FX was thinking. I mean, it's Deadpool and it's Donald Glover, and he's gonna want to do it justice. And yeah, so when I originally read that the final straw that broke the camel's back was an episode based on Taylor Swift and what Deadpool could have been doing in an adult cartoon with Taylor Swift. Yeah, I can only imagine, and I'm sure it was horrible.
Yeah.
And probably had to do with some sex acts and such. And what do you guys think this was going to be?
I mean, it's like, have you seen
It's
it?
Deadpool.
It's like, have you seen the movies? Yeah.
It's an adult-oriented cartoon based on an adult-oriented comic character who had the highest-grossing February release of all time, and I think still, or did Logan? No, Logan beat it. It did. As of the last couple of years, it was the highest-grossing R-rated comic book movie and highest-rated R-rated movie of all time.
Wow.
Yeah, it's going to be a little graphic. It's gonna push some buttons. It's Deadpool.
What he does.
I guess I just, I mean, Fox has had this license for so long. You made a movie. Are people not reading or at least watching their own movies in their companies? Like, well, they want to do this Deadpool thing. Should we check out that movie account? No. What about the comics that have been coming out in the 90s that he's been in? Need to see that for.
Man, I almost wonder if there is a fear of not just the fourth wall breaking itself, but pulling so many more of the real world references in and using that as a source material. It always seemed to me, what I've seen of Deadpool at least, yeah, he broke the wall all the time, but his sourcing was still based there within, X-Force and Colossus and
and some of the stuff that FX does, especially on their late night stuff, and they've done some adult oriented cartoons before too. In my opinion, this falls right in line with it. I really don't understand what the issue is. I guess for me, taking in what they've done before, and because I'm sure you've seen the FX lineup. Sometimes they would, like Archer, for example.
Yeah.
If you're doing Archer, how can you have a problem with whatever they're going to do with Deadpool? I don't know. I don't get it. It's dumb.
Yeah.
You missed the ball on this one.
Man.
Opportunity to make a lot of money because people would have loved this.
Yeah.
Especially with Rick and Morty and where people are with cartoons right now.
Right.
They want this kind of edgy stuff.
Right.
Yep. You didn't miss the ball. You dropped the ball.
Sucks.
Yes.
Sucks.
It does.
Man.
I would have watched.
Yeah. Heck, I tune into. You know what? I do want to ask you about that real quick. Rick and Morty. Did you ever get into it?
Oh, I love it.
With it? Cool.
Are you kidding me?
Everybody says that. The few I've watched, I've enjoyed. So
it's great. I mean, if you're looking for something a bit more intellectual, it's actually there. But if you just want some gross slapstick comedy, it's there. It really hits on a lot of different levels. If you don't want your cartoons to be grotesque, you better get the fuck out of here. But because that's not for you. But on every other level, it hits, and it's intelligent, it's funny. If you want something kind of episodic, that it's that, but at the same time, there are overarching stories that are happening at the same time. It does really well. I hope we get a fourth season.
Yeah, yeah.
Adult Swim has not ordered a fourth season.
Hey.
Yeah, I don't know what the heck's going on with that. So, hurry up. What are you doing? Because it takes them a year and a half at least to make it anyway.
Right, right.
So, what the season 3 ended somewhere about half a year ago or so. Yeah, it was before Christmas. It was in the fall. So we were looking at probably at least another year and a half from now.
The way it stopped with season 3 though, was it reasonable? Like let's just say hypothetically that's it. It ended. Could you see it ending there? Period.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it shouldn't, but
Right.
it could.
All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. And I know that's always a juggling act with these kind of things. You get a forecast and you sort of put
Well,
a
Adult Swim does this shit.
yeah, yeah. So, huh. Well, we'll see.
It's all right. They'll just throw more anime on Saturdays.
Yeah, I was about to say, Adult Swim's in this. It's always been in this weird place. Its roots of being so closely tied to Toonami and anime, and the what was that in the early 2000s? The Midnight Run and the Rising Sun. They had different like blocks of anime on, and yeah, it's shaken, but hasn't fully shaken that because it will gladly slide back into that territory sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
And heck, doesn't Cowboy Bebop still come on?
I think so. I think so. You talk about Toonami, and for you, that's probably great. For me, it's like, oh, this is the night I don't ever watch Adult Swim.
Yep.
Right. The only time that was different was when they actually threw Clone Wars in there.
Yeah.
Amongst all of that was Clone Wars, and I was like, yes, give him something good to watch.
Shots fired. Good stuff. Also in line of Marvel news, this goes to about the MCU. Phil Coulson. He is set to return to the MCU movies. Marvel Studios, they made an announcement just this past Monday that Clark Gregg is going to be replying his role. Yeah, that's great. Reprising his role as Agent Coulson on the big screen in next year's MCU prequel, Captain Marvel.
It's all right
Awesome.
because if you want, you can just like spit out sentence fragments like I do. Yeah, something like that.
Things.
They got you.
This
Stuff and feels. That's what I say. Just whatever.
and this
Here's the thing, and this is how I feel about it.
discuss.
Right.
Lord. No, this is cool. Now, I do want to ask, because you've seen way more Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. than me. Do you think this causes any issues with him?
No, because it took
no.
place in the 90s.
Okay, we're good. Never mind.
Yeah, it's a prequel.
Never
I
mind.
was almost expecting this. I'm glad they officially announced it because they hadn't. But I was pretty much expecting this, so I'm looking forward to it.
Cool. Some more about this. This is Rohan the Accuser and Korath the Pursuer from Guardians of the Galaxy.
That's
be
my
making a
bad.
return
That's
too.
supposed to be Ronan the Accuser.
Whoops.
Yeah.
It's all good. All good. But no, this is cool. And again, you need more of these little kind of connect the dot bridges that bring stuff together, especially because as Marvel keeps creeping closer to the what's the next arc? Was it Cosmic?
What's that?
Where we're going. I don't know if it actually had a name, but after Infinity War, the second Spider-Man movie is going to kick this off.
Phase 4.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'd call it cosmic. They've definitely said that they're going to be going into space more, which makes sense. With Guardians of the Galaxy and Captain Marvel and such. So, Phase 4 will kick off with Spider-Man: Homecoming 2, whatever that is. That's going to be retitled, just like Avengers 4 will be retitled.
I'm sure. I mean, we've already been Homecoming. I don't know if Homecoming's going to happen again this quick. Just saying. No, I shouldn't.
Your jokes aren't landing today.
No, they aren't. I'm throwing them, but you're just breaking the web, man.
You are throwing them.
There is a important note here that all three of these characters that are mentioned, that's the ones from Guardians of the Galaxy and also even Coulson, they've died in a lot of different MCU movies. Now, Coulson, he got brought back in the Agents of Shield show, but now he's been alive in the MCU for years, but he has not been seen in one of the movies since he died in the Avengers.
Yeah.
So good note.
I'm looking forward to seeing Coulson actually on the big screen again. You know, you see him on TV. It's not quite the same. You know, we're going to get old school Coulson. He doesn't have the robotic arm. He hasn't been Ghost Rider. Yes, that was a thing.
Wow.
You know, he hasn't had a huge scepter shoved in his chest or, you know, all these things that have happened. Yeah, old school Coulson. Not only that, but even older school Coulson than what we've seen in the past, along with old school Fury.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
And it's similar in the comics where Shield goes through a lot of shit. Like right now in the comics, Shield is currently defunct again, and this stuff happens. Just like in the TV show, it's happened a lot. You know, it's like they were fine, and now it's garbage, and then they're fine, and now it's garbage again. They're domestic terrorists again. So
Trying to see what's worse: Shield going defunct constantly, or Captain Janeway bailing ship constantly.
yeah, they both will happen a lot. But yeah, it's so it'll be interesting to see this at a more stable time, kind of like what we got the first couple of years of the MCU, but at a time when there wasn't a bunch of superheroes or there wasn't an emergence of superheroes.
Right.
What Shield was like. Because at that point, I believe the consensus and the feeling has been that Shield was the big powerhouse at the time, which clearly has not been the case.
Mm. Cool. So now there's a little bit more in line here with as far as we're talking about MCU Agents of Shield, and I did want to get into this a bit with you because of course you kept it with the show more than I have. And there was also a couple articles from Digital Spy and confirmed by Showrunner. Wow, Showrunner! Here I am throwing out stuff again. That series producer JAgged, he confirmed in a TV Guide interview, quote, "It'll definitely catch their attention. I think it'll change some of our characters' motivations, and it'll change our trajectory a little bit. That nebulous thing he's talking about are the events that are going to be happening in the Infinity War upcoming here in April. You've talked before about, the threats or hints at crossovers, things that might happen, or other huge links that might directly tie something big that's happening in the movies over here with the show. What do you think? You think this is a more of a cherry picking of events based off of how big Infinity War is going to be, of course, or something that might just fall flat again?
So yeah, we were talking about this before the show. The biggest thing that they've done was with Winter Soldier. There were some episodes leading up to Shield, the cast of the show, finding out this discovery of what there's something wrong in Shield and helping Fury, and at the end of Winter Soldier, the helicarrier shows up out of nowhere.
Right.
And was that Winter Soldier, or was that actually I think that was Age of Ultron, wasn't it?
Yeah, because that huge part of the continent had been lifted, and
okay, so that one, that one. So that was a big thing, was that behind the scenes, because I've actually had people who don't watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. say, well, where did Fury come with that helicarrier? Like, well, if you watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you know exactly where that came from. That was probably the most interaction. There was some Winter Soldier stuff, obviously, with the fall of S.H.I.E.L.D. There was a lot of interaction there. They actually did show briefly. They showed Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch on the show briefly before Age of Ultron came out. The Security Accords, from Silver, not just you this week, me too, from Civil War, what has been mentioned a couple times. There have been a couple characters on the show that have registered with it, but that's been about it. There, ever since Age of Ultron, things have been pretty lax, and in large part doesn't feel like they're happening in the same world at all. Especially since there's been no mention in the MCU, in the movies or anything, that S.H.I.E.L.D. came back. It fell, but it does come back, and it does. They work with the government. They become a government entity again. There's never been any mention of that in the movies, and I guess there didn't need to be. But hey, how about a little shout out to what's going on there? So they say this, and right now the cast, the show's dealing with its own world-ending thing, and I can't help but to wonder if they're somehow connected. But they might be. The only
Right.
thing that gives me any hope that this stuff is connected is the fact that ABC wanted to cancel this show, and Disney's like, no, you're keeping it for at least one more season, which tells me
Yeah.
that we have something planned, and we're going to at least pull this off. That's the only thing that gives me any hope that there's going to be
Yeah.
something bigger for the big head honcho mouse to come out and be like, no, you're doing this. So he's like, hey, you're gonna do the show, kiss my ass. But yeah, that's right. So I don't know. I don't want to get my hopes up because there's been so many missed opportunities already, and that's just because there's a couple of people fighting with each other. They've been saying for years, oh, it's difficult to line this up. No, it's not. You're Disney, you're MCU, you're the biggest thing in entertainment.
Yep.
You move those pieces on the chessboard however you want.
Yep.
So, don't give me that it's difficult to do this and that. All right, this is not Warner Brothers stuck with a guy with a mustache. Okay? That doesn't happen to me.
And we're sort of out of the days when we were, I like to call them the rights wars, when we were kind of sitting with the rival camp saying, well, I have this, well, you have that. Well, nothing can ever happen. You'll never see this.
The MCU rivals has conquered or rivals anything that has happened in entertainment at this point.
Yep.
Okay, there's no, don't tell me that stuff. Don't tell me that stuff. So yeah, I don't know. I don't want to get my hopes up. I'm sure there will be something. I mean, would I freak out if I saw one of the Black Order on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and they had just dealt with that for an episode? That would be nuts. That would be crazy. That would be awesome, and that would make me happy.
Yeah.
But it probably won't happen.
Wild.
Yeah. So
All
they'll
right.
acknowledge it as they've acknowledged in the past, especially the TV show acknowledges stuff in the movies. We'll see.
Cool. Sweet. The other big question here, and you chimed in on a little bet we were talking about last time, involving Galactus and Silver Surfer. And there's a big question circulating around. Hey, is there a chance Silver Surfer might be in Infinity War? Well,
yeah, I had asked you if they were going to take one person from the Fox properties and put them in Infinity War, who would you want that to be?
Yep. Surfer.
Yeah.
Turns out that Metacritic, they recently added actor/director Kurt Clendenin. I think I got that right. Clendenin,
who knows?
For the cast for this movie and the role he's credited for playing, Silver Surfer.
Yeah.
They reached out to him for some more info. Now, he didn't go into any direct details, but he replied with some quotes from Galactus, to whom Silver Surfer is the herald for, the World Eater himself.
Oh, I forgot. He switched his banner on Twitter to a picture of Silver Surfer as
Wow.
well. I didn't put that in.
Wow.
Yeah, so I love that people are asking him on Twitter, and he's quoting Galactus the World Eater. That's awesome.
This is so good.
I hope it's true. It could all be one big troll.
It could.
Because
it could.
with as secretive as they're being with stuff in this movie, to just let something like that out,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean,
that could be the Christmas present you get on Christmas Eve.
it could. It could.
But could also be the coal in the stocking.
So hey, I've still got my shield up, but you bet there's a notch in that shield where I'm looking through it, man. I'm waiting. I'm be watching that. And if that happens, I'd be so happy to see an MCU treatment of Surfer. So
Yeah. Well, and that's one thing. If you don't like that Fantastic Four sequel that came out several years ago, I think maybe even 10 years ago at this point,
yeah.
I don't blame you for that. But really, I mean, what can you do with that character? You can't really make him look any different.
No.
Special effects were fine for that. And he's like, yeah, he's a big shiny bald guy.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot visually that you can do with him. I mean, as far as just his raw aesthetic, his abilities, on the other hand, that's almost up just the imagination. I mean, this guy is crazy powerful. I always felt Surfer was at his best when you sort of get a window into a lot of his monologues. I mean, with someone with so much power, it's funny. He really just spends a lot of the time moping about the galaxy. But there's some nuance to him too.
Well, he has a job.
He does. No, he does. He does. And that's the whole deal. And he he constantly recounts his previous life and everything like that. But whenever I see Surfer in something, that automatically expands my whole field of view for what we
Mm.
could possibly see, because what he's tied to, what he's involved with, is so much more than just Beyond Earth. So cool.
Here you're a fan of Silver Surfer. I will catch him in various comics or TV show media that that's Marvel related. So I don't know a heck of a lot about him.
Right.
But did you actually like collect the Silver Surfer comic?
Yeah, and this was a result of my dad. Now, Spider-Man still holds a #1 spot. But when my dad was coming up, he was a huge Silver Surfer fan, and just
Okay.
by proxy, he got me into Surfer too. So
Well, and he's been around for a while, and Marvel has teased this from time to time. I've never quite understood how that works because, I mean, he's the herald for Galactus, the World Eater. All
yep.
right, he is one of the most powerful and evil things in the Marvel universe. How is he a good guy? How is he considered a superhero, or is he kind of an anti-hero like the Punisher? I mean, he comes off as kind of a calm and, hey, I want to do good things, but at the same time, the whole point of him is that he shows up at your door a couple days before Galactic does, lets you know, get your shit together, pay, whatever you got to do, you got 2 days to do it, or however long, because this guy's coming, and I'm just letting you know, you might want to get your affairs all taken care of here.
Yeah. This is part of the appeal of Surfer. It's how he's conflicted. This is someone who ultimately, I think, wants to do the right thing, or something good, even though the way he's currently serving as a herald. But he's always brought into these pulls, and his choices between those always, they cause a lot of conflict. Now, here's what's interesting: unlike a lot of heralds and subservient beings, look, Silver Surfer is anything but that. Like, this isn't somebody who's just in a short leash that Galactus can just choose to, zap and blow up anytime he wants. His link, he was given and imbued with that power. It's not a self-destruct button, or it's just a little chain that could be yanked. So really, he could just decide, to do what he likes with that, frankly. And he often ends
I don't
up.
understand. Does he not have to be the herald of Galactus?
I mean, he's serving as, but he still. It's a couple of things. Being a herald and complete servitude are different things. The last thing this guy is a henchman. Yes, he is a herald. He goes forward, he goes ahead, but he doesn't just blindly execute Galactus's will in every single circumstance you see him. That's part of what makes him interesting.
I guess, but at the same time, does it really matter what he does? Because, I mean, when Silver Surfer shows up, that means the whole planet is about to be eaten.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah, and I seriously, I mean, this is the impression I've gotten. So I'm just kind of, it's just always been kind of weird to me.
No.
I can see side stories coming from that, and maybe something that has been able to push his own comic from time to time, which he's had from time to time. For me, I see him as like, that's interesting. He looks really cool, but he seems more like a piece of a story than anything. He looks like a plot point.
If anything, it's more the other way around. He looks that way until you start reading. This guy has a bit more pull in Galactus himself than you might actually think. I know there was a lot of his comics. He had a lot of like battles against all kinds of like space enemies and stuff. A lot of them led by Thanos. And eventually he meets Thanos, who ends up telling him actually about how like Galactus altered, the changes that, besides giving Surfer power, how he kind of altered his soul a bit. And Surfer actually convinces Galactus to, well, go and restore it. So there's a number of these instances where he will go and do something that you might think, oh, he can't do that. Like, he's just like some servant up, but no, like far from it. So I think that's where he constantly surprised me, because I didn't think I was going to like Surfer at all for the same reason. I'm like, why do I want to read something about like somebody who's a herald or who just has to like go ahead? But he has more pull than I thought he did initially.
Yeah, it's the impression I get is that he's the messenger of doom.
Yeah, I hear you. He is a very conflicted messenger, and he's not as doom and gloom as you might think.
Oh no, it's my understanding he's fairly emo.
Oh, he is very.
Yeah. Yeah.
He is.
And like horrible things happened to him. That's why he actually took the position, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't remember all the specifics of that though.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, so what's that mean for the MCU if he's showing up?
Ah, the power cosmic. Maybe.
Maybe they're going to need that Infinity Gauntlet.
Just might. I mean, considering Thanos is, casually pulling the moon around and cool stuff like that. So.
Well, because Silver Surfer's showing up.
Yeah,
which is supposed to mean that the Galactus is showing up. Kind of a side note to this, because we don't talk about comics on the show too much. Fantastic Four are getting a comic coming back this summer.
Ooh.
It's been gone for a few years with Reed Richard becoming godlike and all that, and stepping out from the sentient universe and all that stuff. So
wow, so this is not a reboot.
No, it's a hey, they're coming back kind of thing. So yeah, I don't know. Looks like the steps are being put in place to do some stuff. Silver Surfer joining the MCU is certainly an interesting prospect. What if the whole Fox thing does fall apart?
Yeah.
I'm sure they've already got a contract in place for all that, but yeah, interesting.
Love it.
It'll be fun to see the shiny guy.
Yeah, we'll see. I think my other question is, if you do bring him in, how are you going to represent the power cosmic? Because his last appearance with Fantastic Four, he was nerfed a ton, and reasonably so, because he's ridiculous and actually pretty OP. But the one thing that I think balances him is how his lack of blindness or just being subservient. He's very contemplative as a character and often pretty torn. And sometimes it leaves him just doing nothing, in action. So. We'll see.
No.
Fair enough. Over.
I'm interested, but you can
no. I get it. That is a wholly reasonable response. I can't fault you for that at all. So, alrighty.
So should we talk about something that really sucks before we get into the rest of the news?
Yeah, why not?
All right. So Atari came out with some information about their Atari VCS.
Right.
What does that stand for? I forget. The Video Computer System, which I guess was going to be the name of the original Atari 2600. So we're off to the right start here as far as reintroducing and rebranding the Atari by using a name that they were thinking about using 40-some years ago. Some specs out came out for this. It's basically going to be a Linux box for your TV. The possibility that you could use Steam on it, but there's not going to be anything official on that because they're not going to have any contracts with them. It's going to be anywhere from $250 to $300. It's going to come with at least one controller. They had some displays out for two controllers, one of which was an actual controller that you can get nowadays that hooks up to a USB that looks just like the original Atari controller.
Yep.
So it's not even their prototype controller. Another one was, I believe, an Xbox controller made up to look kind of like a controller for them. This is going to come with a bunch of games, a bunch of old school Atari games that there's absolutely no reason to get that. There's no reason to get it for that because you can get those games everywhere and for anything now. But they're like, oh, we're talking to developers. We're going to do this and this and this and this and this. Basically, this is going to be like if you have a Roku, it's going to be kind of like that.
That's like, it's like no impact, man.
No, this is going to be nothing. We've talked about this once or twice in the past, and I think I said that this isn't even going to be released, and I'm still not saying it won't. I'm still saying it won't be canceled. I'm not sure. But they had nothing. This was recently shown at I forget the name of the convention somewhere in Europe. That's where they talked about it, and their answers. They had a bunch of non-answers. They had nothing to display other than the actual console, which is kind of cool looking. Yeah, this is a Raspberry Pi.
It's that great analogy, by the way. I like it. This really sucks. I remember when hearing some of the first rumblings about this at an E3. And I want to
Hmm.
say that was, I guess, 2017.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I
we've
mean,
talked about this before.
we have it. This is nostalgic of the nostalgic when we come to gaming, and it's just flat on its face here.
They're trying to break into the retro market that's come out as of late, which
Right.
has kind of always been there, but obviously with the SNES and NES Mini has been pretty huge.
Yep.
Um, it's definitely gone up. I, but $300,
No.
which is for a Linux box, which I'm sure has, they're saying it's going to be as powerful as a higher end, not even high end, a higher end laptop. They're saying that's about how powerful it'll be. Not PC,
Laptop.
laptop. Um, so it's going to be a couple steps, maybe around on par with your Xbox One X. Maybe. Actually, no, I probably wouldn't even give it that. But they do say it'll be able to do 4K images. So I don't know, maybe around there. Although it won't have a single game that'll play them. That'll be for Netflix.
Golly,
Take
man.
take the price point down on this, and maybe you'll get some interest. But
Yeah.
this has been a thing of intrigue, and no one says, "Oh my gosh, you know what? I wish they would do now?
Hmm.
Release all those old Atari games."
See?
No,
Yeah.
people have had access to these games forever.
Yeah. I mean, I always wanted to play Pitfall again in 4K on this.
Right.
Never mind.
Well, that's what the NES Mini did, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like this thing with an HDMI cable. Look how crisp this is. Now I just want to play the old Pac-Man.
This is something you see every generation of consoles. Normally, when you're trying to find the next big idea or thing that'll stick, you have a lot of pitches and competition going for that until you got the breakthrough. But then when you're sort of mid slash late generation and you've got the stuff that's stuck in the wall that seems to work, normally there's some kind of hybrid that comes out that just takes a grab at a couple different things. You got some of the home, multimedia elements. You got the nostalgia trip factor of NES, Mini and things like that, and then the idea of, like you said, a Roku and stuff like that. Sort of, this idea of the all-in-one. I remember being really, really hesitant entering the PS3 era when we were talking about not just a gaming console, an everything console. For Blu-ray, this is where I go the internet. This is where I stream movies. This is where I stream TV shows. This is where, in today, in 2018, it's okay. It's good to have options. But if I'm watching Netflix, chances are I'm still going to be on my PC. If I want a game, well, depending on what it is, I'll be over my PS4 or my PC. I still haven't made that jump for just doing everything off one device.
Right.
And we still get these little pushes that I think that do that or try to combine them, but they don't.
Yeah, the best hope for this thing, if it was packaging itself as some kind of device to put on your TV that'll come as an out of the box DVR
Right.
that would allow you to connect things like your Steam or anything else, and be a hub for several different outlets of things that maybe you go to your computer for, maybe you go for your console for, maybe you go you go to your cable for, that, and take the price down to maybe 150, $200. No, take 150. Let me say that.
There you go.
Then it's gonna, plus all the Atari games and stuff and all that, and maybe you get some third party games. Then I think you've got a market, but that's not this. All
No.
they said was, well, it could do that. It might do that. We're talking with developers. This was supposed to come out in the next couple months.
Oh, yikes.
Yeah, it's been pushed back to the end of the year, maybe early next. So it may miss the Christmas crowd too. So,
Oof.
yeah,
Wow.
dead in the water.
Wow. 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 Wow.
This could be something though, and I understand what Atari is doing, because they're like, hey, we're Atari.
Yeah.
We've got a brand name that goes back. There's some nostalgia there. And so they probably gave a team of maybe a couple guys, maybe just one guy, like, hey, develop this device. We want to get in on this retro market. Develop this device, but we want it to be a little bit more than that, because maybe we'll do more in the future. Maybe Atari makes a comeback in consoles, and so let's see what we come up with. Let's see what we can make. Let's look at the budgets as far as what kind of system we could put together, and what could be affordable and what could not. Do the min maxing on losing our ass in case that happens. That's this thing just reeks of cheap though, and lack of development, and it's just whatever. That's and I think for Atari, and this is I grew up with an Atari. We had an Atari 2600 in our home. I loved it, but I mean, come on, that was so long ago. And you didn't capture the hearts of people like Nintendo did, okay? You killed the gaming market. Nintendo brought it back.
Yeah.
And for people, myself and older, the target, your potential and most likely target audience for this device, they're going to remember that.
Yeah. No, hey, I think it's an on-the-money point. It's not just brand name and brand nostalgia. It's, I think, the course of that brand, the effect of that brand, and I think what their most recent histories have done, and what the records had to show for it. So cool.
If they were going to jump back into this, they should be doing it in a fashion of trying to break the curse that they left on themselves, not come out with some mediocre product that can't promise what it's doing or what it will be able to do, and what licenses it may or may not get other than their own.
Right. So
dead in the water.
Flotation device.
You'll see something at E3 this year, and then you'll never see it again. What do you think?
Yeah.
I'm right.
I think it's a legit bet.
Jason won't bet against me on stuff with The Walking Dead, so I'm hoping I'm kind of poking the bear. You gonna bet me?
Well, here's the thing. What keeps me from immediately saying I'm betting against you is having a console or release this far into development, but not having a clear path carved out for it. What this is.
That's the whole point. They haven't invested time in development.
That's exactly what makes me lean away from this. If they had a roadmap for it, kind of like when PS3 and stuff was announced, oh yeah, I'd gladly say, no, this is gonna happen hands down. But this got me iffy.
Right? No, they showed up with their hardware was a case and a third-party controller that looks like the original Atari controller. That's what they showed off.
Yeah,
case looked good though.
It does with the kind of throwback to the faux wood finish. Yeah. Cool.
But how would you use that though, for TV?
See, look, I never got into the whole DVR thing or Roku's or anything. I just.
Well, no, but I mean, think about that for Netflix though.
Yeah.
You basically use one button, but you use other buttons for pausing and for going through. I mean, what would you use that joystick to navigate through Netflix?
Well,
put a little Pac-Man on there.
Well, it would kind of feel like an arcade at that point.
Yeah,
sort of. I mean, when you're actually in the Netflix interface, assuming you copied it the same way onto this, whatever the display is going to be like. I mean, there's not a whole lot to jump through. It's just menus on your side, middle, top, bottom, and.
But there's just one button.
Yeah. Press the button.
This is dumb. You dumb Atari. Should have kept this secret the whole time until someone was smart enough to realize, yeah, this isn't worth it. We would have to put way too much into it, and the chances that we'd even get anywhere are too low. We should just continue to put out the $40 Atari all-in-one boxes that we've been putting out for years. Just keep doing that.
Cool. Now, the other bet, speaking of bets, gaming bets, that I got my eye on that Kingdom Hearts bet. We're going to see.
Yeah, the Bunch of Crunch will be mine.
All right. You're on, man.
I won't be eating that at X-Men, but no. It's all right. I'll eat it at a different movie.
Love it. We're talking about. We can't talk about.
I'll go see it at Bumblebee. I'll eat it there.
No way you're gonna go see that.
No. Just because we're not gonna review it doesn't mean I'm not gonna go see it. It's Bumblebee. It's John Cena, man. Although I did hear that he's gonna actually be a bug. He's not gonna be a Corvette or not Corvette. A Chevy. He's gonna be a Beetle.
Oh, straight up.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
So I may actually, we'll see. That's trailer. That's worth looking at the trailer.
Fair enough.
See,
I'll
and
go
then
with
if John Cena picks him up, then maybe
it.
when he's in the car for him.
Yeah. Uh, Sweet. All right. Another tech. We can't talk about boxes and consoles and tech without looking a little bit at we normally say PCs here, but I want to shine a quick spotlight on Mac. Now, Chris and I have always made this joke. Now, I am a big time former Mac user. I got on Macs when I was in school.
Yeah, I just have to interrupt by to say that you actually said that you're a former Mac user.
Because I'm a PC guy now.
Well, I know that your latest computer is a PC, but I thought you still used and considered yourself a Mac person.
Yeah, you know what? See, here's the thing. Mac moves so quick, and Apple does this down to their iPhones, that if you're not rocking the version of within at least a year and a half or like maybe 2 years of release, you're behind. Look, in terms of what I actually own in Apple, I am miraculously behind. I mean, I got my
shit.
my workstation, my old laptop. Now, I'll say this to go for quality. That laptop's a workhorse. Thing still works now. It's been through hell and back with me for audio and video development and design and it's and rendering. It's gone through its paces. And I had some heat dangers before, but it's still there. Same thing with my tower. It's held up really well over the years. But as far as what I can do with that, updates and I would need something current to even look sideways at something Apple related right now. And that's the real bummer. So, but this is an interesting piece of news here. The one thing Apple is usually not known for is being giving you a lot of cross compatibility options. And I'm not talking about just software. That goes down to like GPUs and stuff. So if you've been keeping up with the whole Bitcoin craze and everything, people who do the farms. One reason that GPUs shot up so much is because people are buying up all these things to hook up to, do Bitcoin farms and things like that. But that whole issue aside, something Apple first announced June 2017 has come to life now. And it's official that Mac OS has gained external GPU support. So you'll be able to connect a GPU through it's an external port called a Thunderbolt 3. When you upgrade to the new OS, it's called High Sierra. Now, the only ones that you can smoothly use right now are the AMD Radeon cards. Funny enough, Apple already uses those in a lot of their products. It's not impossible to use something like a GeForce, so maybe if you have a 1080i or if you have like the Titan or something crazy lying around, you can give it a shot, and you might be able to get it working. I don't know about keeping it working, though. That's still iffy right now. Of course, as I hinted at earlier, you got to have a new enough Mac to be able to support this feature, to have it, the port itself built in. Ideally, a 2016 model and up, and you can't use these new this GPU feature on Windows through using Boot Camp. A lot of people like to partition their drive or like dual boot so they can run Windows and they can run Mac on. I never got into that. I just keep it on one or another. This is actually something kind of cool for Apple because this is usually not something I expect for them to do. Normally, anything that gets announced is some very proprietary, cloistered piece of tech or something that you'd see exclusive to Apple or that only they could do. But this is a real branch out move, and I'd say that's awesome, especially if you can have really good crossfire compatibility between actually hooking up the cards you want and the ports and getting some extra power. Cool feature. But again, you got to ask yourself, if you're willing to keep up. Apple, if you've been keeping up with the investments, if you're big into Apple stuff, you're going to be really happy about this. So, yeah,
there it is.
Cool. Not something I ever expected them to do. But all right. Now, a couple of really quick random things. The first one here, this has to do with our scheduling. We were talking about down the road here this year the Battle Angel Alita movie review. Now that got pushed.
That's all you.
Yeah, it's all me. It's all me. But that got shoved all the way back from July to December now.
Oh
So
man, December's gonna get loaded.
yeah, yeah, it is. And this is late December too. It's looking like December 21st right now.
Jesus, Star Wars takes 1 year off, and everybody just thinks they can just move in like a timeshare
Yeah.
for a while.
So that's back 5 months. And I can't remember if we had this on our list or not. Predator.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah, now that got pushed back too. And that's going back from not as far. From August 3rd, it's going back to September 14th. So just two little dates just to be aware of when we're looking at our reviews. And other than that, ran across something really random in Fortnite. The last couple of shows we mentioned Fortnite or we talked about it. And there's really not a whole lot to verify in this so far. This is just I don't know if call this an Easter egg or just something fun that's been found. A player ran across a glitch. They sort of fell through the stage in the middle of one of the maps, and they found a vending machine that gave you not materials, not income, not any in-game currency. It gave you guns. And apparently the currency it accepts is just wood material, but people can't seem to actually get weaponry out of this thing. So there's a little debate in the Fortnite community. People are trying to figure out exactly what it is, how to use it, if you can use it, and if you could, would this become something people just fight over, kind of like a Halo territory or something to get weaponry? I don't know, but
yeah. I love fun things like that.
Yeah, it's kind of like if you're really into Halo, trying to collect all the skulls, but
sorry,
no.
Oh my gosh, everything from the 90s. That was all extreme and awesome. I mean, it all got funneled into Xbox.
It did.
And so when you tell me, when you're playing Halo trying to collect all the skulls, like, collecting the skulls, man. Skulls.
Dude, I had a circle of friends who were so into getting all of that stuff. I never understood the appeal. To me, Halo is like, I saw it as like the evolution of like GoldenEye. It's this multiplayer thing you sit down and do. Maybe you do a 16-way or an 8-way. Okay, cool. But no, skulls, and you can keep that. I'm okay.
Hey, I'm all about some skulls. That's fine. It's just I mean, I'm not even making fun. Well, I guess I am. I'm laughing.
Yeah, you are.
I'm not mocking it. It's just well, maybe I'm a little. But whatever. Halo and the skulls. Get them all. Isn't that like Pokemon? Shut up.
Catch them all.
The Pokemon sucks. It's all about first-person shooters and aliens and skulls.
Pikachu would have a word with you in Smash Brothers.
Oh, they can both. My personal opinion, both those properties suck. I'm sitting somewhere in the middle. Yeah. Somewhere in the middle between Pokemon and Halo is me flipping them both off.
Pokemon, Halo, Chris.
Both those IPs. Although Pokemon will never die. I've long accepted that. I don't know where the hell that came. I mean, because I was an adult, and just like out of nowhere, it's like, what the hell is this little yellow fucking thing shooting lightning and people throwing balls at each other? And where did this come from?
You got to admit, Pokemon was one of those things that didn't really have much of a precipitating event. It just sort of spawned. Like, man.
Yeah, I know. It just came out. It's like it started as a Game Boy game, or did it start as a cartoon first?
Cartoon, technically.
Was it a cartoon first and then a Game Boy game?
Yeah.
I think in Japan though it started as a game.
No, you're right. No, other way. In Japan, I'm pretty sure it was the cartoon first, because the first inklings of it that I know in the West. Now I was overseas at the time, but the UK seemed to detonate about the time the US did, catching it, and it was all about the Game Boy game came out. So, man,
and I'm just like, whatever. I think I'm playing Final Fantasy 3, which is 6 at the time.
Great game.
It's all right.
Other than that, I think it's time for an info minute.
You let me know what this one was early. This is the best info minute ever.
I did. I figured, I just had an inkling you're going to enjoy this one, so I'm just going to give you an advance heads up on it.
This has to do with this is adult oriented, but like cultural at the same time for the biggest country on the planet.
Sure is. And that is, you know, when you're thinking of what would I want at my funeral? You know, maybe a certain song, maybe family, some flowers. It turns out on the table here, strippers.
Strippers.
This is
This is epidemic.
yeah.
I love it.
And this has to do with what China, specifically what their Ministry of Culture is calling.
Can I just stop for a second?
Yeah, go
Because
ahead.
I laughed the first time you said Ministry of Culture.
That's a thing.
I know it is, and I've heard of it in the past, but it's just so ridiculous.
Yeah. They're
We don't talk about politics on the show.
no.
Um, but in this country, it seems laughable to me that that there would be a Ministry of Culture.
And here you have it.
Oh my!
They have
I'm sorry, Ministry of Culture.
no. They've deemed this obscene, pornographic, and vulgar erotic performances need to be stopped. Now
It is both.
yeah, it is both, but
It is obscene and pornographic.
there's a campaign that got launched not even just a month ago to go against the hiring of these strippers for funerals. Now, the main targets, there's a group of provinces, including Hainan, Anhui, Jiangsu, and Hebei, or Hebei, where the practice is seen most, and some of the more like rural uh, provinces and things like that. And they even posted a hotline that can be called that people can report funeral misdeeds. In exchange for that, they get a monetary reward from the government. So the Chinese government actually began operations against this whole custom about back in 2015 or so. But the funeral strippers, they continue to be a part of a lot of ceremonies in a lot of provinces. So the ministry went for a crackdown to break this up, to end it. This technically was something that actually started in the at least like more in the current age in 1990s, but this is something ancient that goes all the all the way back to the Qing Dynasty. So, if anything, this a long time ago, this was something that was attributed, I guess, more to like the idea of fertility worship and things like that. But today, it's just the spectacle. It's such an irony that's
Some kind of Chinese witchcraft?
Yeah.
Is it something like that?
something like that, and it's just an irony in a communist country that is so large in censorship. That something like this is just irk the government in such a bad way that they're going full blown to put a stop to it. I guess you could say that's to be expected for them to react like that. But this is, out of all the things happening in the world today, this made me do a triple take. It just said, look, like this is actually a thing happening, like an internal fight. Wow.
This is the best ever. This, I mean, there's so many, because at the surface, it's like, wow, strippers at a funeral. And, it is obscene and it's pornographic. By definition, it's a stripper. So going by the proper definitions of this, it is in fact those things. So you have to ask why. And had you
Right.
not told me that there's actually precedent to this going back hundreds of years, and there may actually be cultural reasons for doing this, I would
I'm
say,
here just
look,
recording.
you should probably stop with the naked chick giving a lap dance to the dead guy in the coffin. All right,
Oh, that image.
but there is, I mean, this goes back hundreds of years, which tells me there's a little bit more to this.
Yeah.
That being said, you know what we need? We need to get someone from China on here to talk about this
Yeah.
and give us the real scoop on So what is this? I mean, is there like an old timey cultural excuse for this, but really it's just a bunch of guys googling at a naked chick because
Right.
they don't want to think about their dead friend for a minute?
Right.
Or
I
is there actual reason for this?
I agree, man. The thing I want to clarify real quick that goes back is healthy amounts of like entertainment at funerals is something that's ancient. It's the idea of how that slowly evolved over the years to just parlaying that entertainment culture into bringing strippers on board. So
So like having naked chicks isn't a cultural thing, but having entertainment is.
Correct.
Okay, well that's a little different.
Yeah, it just puts it in a little differently. I just wanted to make sure it's out there. I think the way that was framed before was as though the stripper portion of it went all the way back to the King
Well,
Dynasty.
especially when you start talking about fertility.
Right.
I don't know then. I don't know, because I mean, more and more people are doing celebrations of life than funerals.
This is true.
So, maybe that's what China does, except for they've been doing it for a long time. This is where it's evolved to.
Right.
It's evolved to
Right.
strippers or maybe circus games and stuff. You've got the coffin over here, but over there you can pop to the balloons with the darts. Win yourself a prize. I don't.
Oh man.
I don't. So I guess I don't know. Like I said, I think we're gonna have to get somebody from China to especially the fact that you're telling me that this is regional as well.
Right.
Like there's like 3 regions where this is really happening.
Right.
Where that's the epidemic. I don't know. It's awesome though.
Yeah.
Good on you, China.
Awesome.
I love it. Take it to the culture. The Ministry of Culture. Take it to. Become a free and sovereign nation. Led by the strippers.
Oh man, fun stuff.
It is definitely on my bucket list.
I was gonna ask you, like, let me guess, is this on your bucket?
This is it's on my bucket list. It's also on my instructions on things to do in case of my passing. It's going to be there by the end of the night.
Oh man, but that's gonna do it for us. So thank you all for tuning in. Be sure to check out the other reviews we got posted up here on our channel for Ready Player One and a few of the others that we reposted. Of course, we'll be back with some more upcoming content. And my pledge, my goal right now, is I'm gonna get Mega Man out to you before I go, before I head out to my convention. That is gonna be in hand. My recut of that.
When is that?
It's next week. PAX East is Wednesday through Sunday.
Oh wow, good.
Yep, technically
I wanna get
Thursday
that
or
up.
Sunday, but
That's going to be interactive for the 2 listeners.
yeah, it will.
With the hope that obviously we'll get a lot more because we haven't done the Let's Play yet. We've had Let's Play on the agenda for a while. We think that'll really help.
Yeah.
But that's going to be interactive. They're going to be able to help you by picking what route you take for the bosses on these Mega Man games.
Yep.
And so if they want to troll you and pick ones that don't help, or you're missing key powers for certain levels, they can do so.
Oh, that's gonna be evil.
Or hopefully they won't be. You're the nice guy here. I'm the asshole. They'd be doing that to me every time.
Oh, I don't expect any remorse. I don't know. Ready for anything. But all right. Thank you all, and we'll catch you later. Hey people, thank you for tuning into this episode and taking a listen. If you like our content, if you like what you're listening to, or anything we go over, hey, please, we would not only love to hear more from you, but if great, if you could throw some support, you can subscribe right below. Also, you can toss us a line anytime. That's ksongmedia@gmail.com. Of course, you can tune in for our channel anytime for movie reviews, game reviews, a lot of random wacky stuff. Who knows what you'll hear. And of course, our episode each week where we're bringing the nerdiest things we can find, dig up, and maybe not find, maybe the stuff that just drops in our laps. But anyway, hey, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for listening. We hope to hear from you again later. Take care.